Okay. And we are live for a quick pre-draft synopsis and an absolutely huge announcement that's going to come down the pike here in a few minutes. Um, we are roughly 10 days out from the draft, maybe 9 days, whatever it is. Um, how you feeling so far? I know you got the first pick out of all of us, unless one of us decides to jump up there and make something happen. Um, how is the draft feeling for you? Because I got to tell you, I asked you the question. I'm not going to answer for you.
The pieces are falling into place for Joel Alt to hopefully come over to Tennessee. The last time we were live, I think we talked about maybe Snead landing in Tennessee, and that happened. So that fixed
Yeah.
any quarterback position that we needed to fill there. So this is, and the other big thing is, I don't know if you guys have read this or not, but the Chargers are the only. I was worried about them taking alignment after Harbaugh's comment about everything being so important from the offensive lineman out. They haven't had one top 30 visit with an offensive lineman yet. So I'm not. I think they're
Well,
taking what.
they know what's going to fall to them, right? Like they're picking four.
Yeah, you still think they would want to maybe visit with somebody if they're going to invest that much money in them. They're taking a wide open.
We know they're taking Marvin Harrison Jr. or neighbors from LSU.
Yeah, yeah.
So why would you even waste your time going to talk to that guy? Because when you could be doing research on the guy that you actually want.
Right.
Well, I would say because things happen crazy on draft night. What if somebody comes up with a crazy draft offer for you, and then you decide to slide back, and suddenly now
The
it's not in the
offensive
league?
line's not the problem though.
Yeah,
They literally traded away every player on
they,
like that
they have
catches the ball.
they have three wide receivers, and
Like
like one of them is only like 40 catches over his career.
I'm a big Josh Palmer fan. Yes, I am. Guess
Yeah,
what?
you are.
He's not a number one receiver. And like I said that I remember telling you that AJ Brown was a number one receiver 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And this isn't a shot at Josh Palmer. He's not AJ Brown.
Yeah.
They need to draft one. We know that's what they're doing. It's the matter of which one.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest conversation is who goes two. We know who's going one. I honestly,
Who's going one, Chad?
I didn't say I'd take him one. Okay,
Yeah,
we know
like
who's going.
people make mistakes all the time, right?
Kenny Pickett.
Well, I mean, Kenny
Yeah,
Pickett.
a stat came out that out of all the quarterbacks taken in the first round in the last 15 years, 54% have not made it past 5 years in the league.
Haven't made it been a hit. Yeah.
So, like, I don't care if you pick one or fucking 32nd. There's a good chance that quarterback's not going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be a bad quarterback. I'm just saying I wouldn't take him at one. That's
Right.
I don't think he's that much of an upgrade from what Justin Fields was. Do I think he's a first round quarterback? Yeah, I will say that.
Sure.
But if I'm taking like at one, like you got one, like that's the one pick you cannot miss on.
Yeah.
I know you don't love Trevor Lawrence. That's okay. But in that draft class, he still was the best quarterback there
Yeah.
by a long shot. Like it wasn't close
Are we talking about pre-draft or looking back now, hindsight wise?
Well,
at that time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But no, like, I'm not trying to be a dick about it, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
At this time, you believe Caleb Williams is that guy. I don't think he separated himself that much from the rest of them. That being said, the Chicago Bears did.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. We can't change it. So who goes at two?
I personally think it's Jaden Daniels, man.
I think Jalen
it
Daniels should be
should
number
be.
one. I think he's one.
Yeah, like
I think
that
he's
guy's
number one.
crept up the board. He's in a professional offense. Not that it's fairly spread, but he does his best over in USC to make a professional style offense. But yeah, Jaden Daniels and LSU, what he did with the wide receivers he had around him, it's n we love Malik Neighbors, but like there's a connection there between those two guys that
Yeah.
certainly helped this guy's draft status, right? For
Oh,
sure.
for sure. And you know what? Like the other name that's sliding up, and I think he's ultimately going to fall all the way down is JJ McCarthy. Uh, there he
We've been
is.
talking about the
I
slow
think
creep
I
up of
think
JJ
I think
McCarthy
he's
for
a
a month.
smokescreen. I think it's a smokescreen, to be
He's
honest.
got one last visit to do, and it's with the Commanders. Now, if I,
He's not going to.
I think if he goes to, it's to a team that trades up for him. Who that team is, I don't know. I also, and like if we're getting into hot takes, I think that New England skips quarterback. And I don't think that you need to get up to two because Arizona's going to be sitting there with number 4 with a pick that you might not have to give up quite as much. But if I had to
They're
guess,
taking Harvey.
I'm going to say that the Patriots are taking Marvin Harrison
Whoa.
because they are so desperate for a receiver. And what is the one thing that Bill Belichick could never do?
Land a receiver.
And the first thing that
Besides Randy Moss. I mean, it's right in the
He'll
draft.
never draft one.
look,
In the
yeah,
draft.
the first thing that he's going to do as the new coach there is solidify the fact that that's going to be the pick. Um, think about it. Like, if you bring in Drake May right now, are the Patriots better? Probably not. If you bring in,
Hold on. This was your guy.
I'm talking about the Patriots being better. I'm not talking about this guy.
But I thought
That
that like, this was the guy that could turn a franchise around. Like, he was the guy for you.
he's a
This
guy
guy.
to build around,
Yeah.
but they have nothing there to like. Their top receiver right now is probably Juju Smith-Schuster, most likely getting cut.
Had a crash you
Yeah,
this week.
yeah, he had a mishap,
Yeah.
and if he, yeah, I mean, ultimately, like if they want to build for the future, and it seems like that's the plan that they're going to, then the only logical thing for them to do is to either take one of these big tackles, which I don't think that they need because their O line isn't that bad. But if they did take Marvin Harrison Jr., you'd still have a guy there in Jacoby Brissett that can bridge you for this year and probably a bit of next year.
Yeah, you looked at me with that name. Yeah, that's an ugly name. Ew.
No, but he's still the guy.
He's he's bad enough that you're not going to win 9 games.
Oh my
So
god.
you're going to get a guy.
That guy is Joe Flacco 2.0.
But that's exactly what they need him to be. They don't need him to win. They need him not to lose every single game.
So
Keep fans invested.
the best things you can do if
Penguins got another one.
that's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that one got waived.
We're just getting hosed. Oh,
Yeah, I know what three getting waved off is like.
yeah. So if you're New England, you hold the keys. You probably hope that somebody takes Jaden Daniels at 2, and you're hoping that that's Washington, whatever. And then your prayer is that a team like the Raiders, who are classically willing to overpay for shit, or the Vikings, who desperately need to get up there, are jumping up because really at that point, like you could probably snag a couple of first round picks. You know you're going to suck this year. You know you're going to suck next year. You could probably rebuild the New England roster within 3 years and be out from under all those bad contracts that they have. They have an okay, well, actually, you know what? A better than okay defense. Put a decent receiver on the outside that I wouldn't pick him as the first even receiver in this draft, but I mean, I know people are saying generational talent, whatever. You put that guy out there and you start building other things around it. I think that they'll be in okay shape.
So my next question is, if what happens, what you're saying does happen,
Yep.
if I'm the Vikings, do you trade back? Because right now you're picking 11. If you don't go 1, 2, and 3, okay, they don't go quarterback there. That means um, Bo Nix and JJ will probably still be on the board
Yep.
at 11.
I think Bo Nix has fallen out of the first.
I honestly think if I'm a Vikings fan, and I told my friend who is a Vikings fan this, Bo Nix is who I'm going to get. And if I can trade back and gain a first round pick to get him, that guy started 5 years in college. That's you can't just get experience like that. And he played in 2 offenses.
Yeah, and 5 years in the pack is like what, a year and a half.
He played in the SEC, bro.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Easy.
I was thinking Oregon. My bad.
Well, yeah, and you know what? He got around.
His arm talent is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and he played on good teams. He played a really tough SEC when he was there and won some big games.
Yep.
And if I can get him in the 20s and I gain a first round pick, there's a lot of holes in Minnesota.
So to me, like I agree with what you're saying, and the fact that he played in his bowl game means a lot. The fact that he showed up at the combine means a lot. Um, but all of those reasons to me just signal this guy needed to get extra tape, which is probably why he's going to go in the second or the third
You
round.
think Penix goes before him?
I do not.
You think Penix just falls right off?
So I don't, and just looking around, I don't think that there's enough quarterback needy teams that are a quarterback away or like willing to make
if you
that.
look at it, you'll have the picks in front of me. After Denver, no one needs a quarterback.
Yeah.
And like the Vikings pick at 23 as well.
So if I was Denver,
And
like
they could get
They got that to move up. That's in their back pocket to move up.
if I was Denver, I would think move back a little bit. If you're the Raiders, move back. Like it's interesting to see what the Raiders and Denver are going to do because the Raiders are far closer to being in a position to win. But I don't think if the Raiders drafted Bo Nix right now, or Michael Penix. He's not the starter. So like, why are you so eager to get him in there? Like, Gardner Minshew is there for 2 years. Gardner Minshew is a guy that has basically won everywhere that he's gone, or at least like
Won enough.
been serviceable.
Win in Indy.
He won enough.
He kept that team in a shot to make the playoffs.
Coming from a guy who's like you were known for being a 500 football team, you talk so much shit
Yeah,
for a team who only wins 9 to 10 games a year.
I mean, we're talking about a team Indy that hasn't done anything since Luck's been gone, and they've had ample cap room this
We're
offseason.
talking about Gardner Minshew just being good enough to be
Yeah.
a Band-Aid for 2 years.
lose because of him.
That's an art.
Their O line was shit, and Jonathan Taylor was banged up. Gardner Minshew won them some games, and he kept them around it. He ultimately got them a worse draft pick out of the whole thing, but I mean, at the end of the day, like
Thanks, Guard.
Anthony Richards was always going to be the quarterback, so Minshew was never going back there. I think that if you could Thomas Ballard and say we're going to redraft, they might not take Richards. They might just be comfortable with Minshew, and they might just continue to build around it.
I agree.
Not saying he's ever going to be a guy that wins the Super Bowl, but he's a guy that can get you to where you need to
And
be.
you get to be a
right
500 quarterback.
now. Yeah, they used a lot of capital to get this Anthony Richards guy that I think everybody was super high on. I am not.
If you throw 50% in college, you're not going to be successful in the NFL.
And he hasn't been able to finish a game.
Yeah,
He gets hit way too hard, way too often.
yeah, he's playing interesting. You know, like as we're only gonna stay on for about 15 minutes or so.
One thing that I am looking, because we were just talking moving up and down the draft board, I don't know if you got a clip of Monty Ossenfort, the GM for the Cardinals, him moving up and down the board last year in the draft.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what he does with number 4, because we all are saying, and Marvin's going to go there if he gets past. You just said New England there, but man, you've got a lot of trade bait to dangle there if you're thinking that really isn't the player that you need that's going to solidify your team. And there's a lot of holes in Arizona too, right? This guy can go up and down the board and still somehow get Malik Neighbors out of this.
Well,
that's the thing. Like, there's receiver, like it's a big position in the NFL, but I don't think you need to take one at 4 and 5. There's other needs that other teams are going to need.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's 5. They're saying there's 5 first-round quarterbacks. There are 6 teams that need 5.5 that need a quarterback.
Also, Worthy with the change in the kickoff rules.
Yeah.
I think that really is going to make him move up the boards, right?
I think he's a second round pick too, but I don't disagree. So there is a possibility that there's 7 receivers taken, and that's where you start to look at it. Like if you have 7 receivers that are going to be taken, we have to assume there's going to be 7 tackles. Then we start looking at the defensive linemen.
There's not that great defensive lineman class, I don't think.
So like the big boys.
The only one was the one out of Texas, and he went and screwed his up too.
The big boys are it's a deeper class, but yeah, the big boys are there. Edge rusher isn't super deep. It seems like corner is there. So if guys start to sneak up, it's going to be things that we haven't seen in a long time, which is centers and guards being taken in the 20s to 32. I think that's going to be pretty low.
And look at the way the game's now shifted. It's an offense first game. So what do you need? Quarterbacks, receivers, and the guys who are going to stop quarterbacks and receivers.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of DBs taken. I don't think I've ever seen so many corners with first round grades.
Right.
And in the 20s, I've done numerous mock drafts, and there's 6 or 7 going in the 20s.
Right.
Because they're not going to be the first 5 picks. And then you're going to fill up on receivers and linemen. Well, then what's left?
Right.
The best player available, and all those guys are DBs.
Yeah, and you know what? Talk about things falling down the draft board, and you just got to take the best player available. We were definitely not the top round draft boys when we started this show, right? But I will say
we are we're the best of what's available right now,
and we have been selected in the draft and for going forward to be partnered with 100 Kellogg and specifically the Clubhouse, the Beer Kitchen, and Powerhouse Brewing Company, and we are going to be the official ambassadors of those 3 brands. We're super excited to start doing that. Our huge kickoff is actually going to be draft night from the Clubhouse.
Set's going to change a little bit.
That's going to change a little bit.
You guys have a comfier seat.
Yeah. It's going to be a very, very unique experience. We're going to post all the details coming out for what the draft night's going to look like, but we're going to do it up big. We might even have Chad in a bow tie. You never know.
Just a bow tie.
You never know. But yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you can get away with that. But we're excited about the partnership. We're excited to get out there. Really quickly. This kind of came together like pretty crazy, but like how you guys feeling about it?
Stoked. It's a big, cool place to go to. Everybody's talking about it. There's lots of we've been at the market many times, just hanging out there with the sauce guys, right? So,
Yeah.
um, I'm excited, man. This is a good opportunity.
It's a really cool thing from like where we all started. I think that's the biggest part that people don't get, except for
Basements.
well, we're still
Yeah.
like outside of like our close circle and like significant others. I think people just think we come on here, talk, make fun of Kalen, tell them the Titans suck, and we move on to the next week, which we do. I want to make
Yeah.
that very clear.
Chad said
Things aren't going to change around here.
Well, we're making it to a much bigger venue. And growing up in London, Kellogg's has been a staple
Yeah.
in our community. They've been here forever, and it's really cool to see the way they're trying to revamp that whole area. And now we get to kind of be a part of that. And I think that's saying a lot about what people think of our show
Yeah.
and what kind of value and what kind of impact we have on London.
They don't watch it apparently.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take our flowers for us, and I think it's show that we are doing all the right things in the city.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Like we're happy to do it. The Rogers show has been amazing. Our live stream's been going well. 4 years strong. This will be our fourth draft together. We'll get to chirp Kalen for whoever they pick or whoever they trade away. You never know.
Oh, such a that's one of the
We've
greatest
had
days.
we've had a lot of draft history.
Side of my weddings. That's right.
Yeah.
You plural that.
Yeah.
She said, I want to make sure I did it before like Shane did.
You know,
That's one of the best days of my life, watching you lose AJ Brown.
yeah, you make a quick predict. We'll each make a quick prediction for our team, and then we'll sign off, and then we're gonna be there at Kellogg's. I believe it's the 24th.
25th. Thursday the 25th.
Thursday the 25th. You heard it here. So we'll let you go first because actually, we'll go the other way. The Bucks were in the playoffs, so I think you get to go first.
Yeah, we're the only ones that made the playoffs, right?
No, we were in the playoffs.
Yeah, were you?
Yeah, we played Buffalo.
Yeah. I think we're going corner, and it's gonna be Kool-Aid.
We got Nico from Refuse to Lose out there.
I think Kool-Aid from Alabama, if he's there, or the kid from Iowa. We're gonna take the Great White Hope.
Yeah.
It's mostly because he can play the nickel.
Yeah,
and that's what we need. And the guy who can play the nickel or play in the safety position. We really don't need him out wide, so I think he'll be okay there. But I really do like Kool-Aid's size, and that's the biggest thing in his length. We lost all of our corners the last 2 years. One to you guys, and it didn't really pan out. Sean Murphy Bunting,
who's in Arizona now.
Yeah, and Carlton Davis left this year.
Yeah.
So having a big corner is going to be huge for us, especially in that division.
Right.
So that's what I'm really hoping. What I do think we're going to do.
Well, so for me, I'm thinking back to 18 years ago. And 18 years ago was the last time the Steelers drafted a receiver in the first round.
Did you sit on this thought? 18 years? Was it actually 18 years ago?
Yeah, it's Antonio Holmes.
Oh my gosh, how do you remember
that first round? Right?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
he's pretty good at football.
Because we usually just develop our receivers, but we've allowed people to leave. We've brought in some quarterbacks of the future. We're gonna need some talent around. So I'm gonna say the first round pick of the Steelers might not be at 20. They might go up, they might go back, but it's either going to be Brian Thomas Jr. or Adani Mitchell from Texas. And I actually am in love with Mitchell. So I'm
still going to go 4 times how much better he is than Worthy.
Significantly better. I think you put him on the outside with Georgie Pickens, and you let the other scrubs that they picked up do a little bit of blocking, and either Rusty or Justin Fields is going to eat. So
I don't know. That Worthy man could be like that AB Deontay Johnson kind of mix.
Yeah, I want all my corners over 6 feet, and I want all my receivers over 6 feet.
NFL,
that is how I roll.
I think there's going to be I know that earlier I said all everything's falling into place. I really do think the Titans trade back with Minnesota and then pick up that Penn State tackle because they can certainly get him in the.
You gonna attempt to say that name
in the teens? Fanashu? Is that how you say Fansha?
You're asking the.
That's actually that was way closer than I thought we would get.
I thought you were looking at me as if I was going to be the one to pronounce this.
Hold on, right? Hold on.
Yeah. All right, and then what is going to be the biggest surprise of the draft? Like, is there any? So I have money on this, but is there any way Caleb Williams is in the first round or first overall pick?
No.
As much as I want it, I do think Jalen Williams is the best quarterback in that coming out. I do believe that.
Caleb.
Caleb, yeah, not Jaden.
Jaden, I said Daniels all day.
He's just mixed. He's mixed.
He mixed
Oh,
it together.
Jaden Daniels. I see what you're
Jaden
saying.
Daniels, so
I
it's
see
the
what you're
best of
saying.
him.
Yeah, got you.
I do believe he is. If you asked me before the season, I don't lie. I said it was Drake May. I'm not gonna lie about it.
Yeah.
I'm confident with what I said a year ago. He did not play good football this year, and at the end of the season, he didn't play great, and it really hurt him.
Yeah.
I really like Daniels. I also really like Bo Nix, but I know he's not going to go one.
Right.
Like I think if he can get picked by the Vikings or Broncos in that situation, it's a good spot to go to, man. Especially like if you get to go to a team and have Justin Jefferson as your receiver, that's really going to help your rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that Williams is going to be the number one, even though I personally don't feel he should be. That's all.
So I think a big surprise is that there's not going to be, just like last year, 2 years ago, there's not going to be as many quarterbacks in the top five as we really think there's going to be taken. I think there's going to be, I know we keep talking about a deep wide receiver draft, but there are three that are really, really good. And then there's the rest of them that are like,
Like there is levels.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And I think that there's going to be a bit of a scare there where we got to get that wide out because I don't think that there's a lot of these quarterbacks that didn't have to stay. You mentioned Drake May didn't have a good second half of the season. Jaden Daniels came on hot from the combine and the tail end of the back of Malik Neighbors' season, right? So I don't think there's enough quarterback power to really move up for or want to draft that quarterback. Certainly his wide receiver power this year.
This is a guy who beat all of Joe Burrow's numbers.
Right.
And I'm not going to say he's going to be better than Joe Burrow because that's an insult and that's not fair to him.
Mhm.
But how do you do everything better than the number one pick in the draft, who is probably a top 5 to 7 quarterback in this league, and he's not the number one pick in the draft?
Yeah.
That's the part that really blows my mind.
So I don't know if this is going to happen on day one or day two of the draft. It's either going to be Thursday or Friday. Most likely the Friday. But an all-pro receiver is going to get traded, and that is either going to be Justin Jefferson or Brandon Ayuk will get traded.
And where's Brandon Ayuk going? Because I heard these rumors too.
Well, if the Steelers get somebody in the first round, there's no way it's him. So that's
Well, you talked wide receiver, and we know the price of a wide receiver. We saw a couple years ago with AJ Brown. First round pick in that area is what got AJ Brown.
But that's like the Steelers aren't giving up 20 for Brandon Ayuk because it's Brandon Ayuk plus a whole bunch of money. And they could afford it. They don't pay their offense a lot of money, but I'm not saying it's necessarily that. It would actually I'm leaning more towards Justin Jefferson getting traded because the contract's going to get messy.
And he didn't show up today.
Or it could be a guy like CD Lamb. But those are all the things. That's why we watch the draft. That's why we have our cameras on each other. That Kenny Pickett video of me did not age well. It's probably going to come out in the next week or so.
You should relaunch that.
That's
I
okay.
should definitely bring that back.
And
It's our most watched reel ever on Instagram, so we definitely need to bring that back.
yeah,
Might as well ride the tide,
yeah, we'll just keep doing that. But yeah, definitely come down to 100 Kellogg's and check us out at the clubhouse. We'll definitely send out some more information, some more details. We'll have some giveaways. We'll have lots of stuff going on. So keep eye on that, and obviously keep doing